On September 8, 2035, the commercial mining vessel Caliban's Fortune was extracting nickel-iron ore from Asteroid 16 Psyche when drilling operations encountered an anomaly at a depth of 2.1 kilometers. A crew of 9 miners, engineers, geologists employed by Helix Mining Corporation had been working the asteroid for 4 months, standard 3-year contract. Extract valuable metals, process them on site, load the refined materials onto transport ships bound for Earth orbit. Routine work. Dangerous, but routine. 1422 Coordinated Universal Time. Chief Engineer Marcus Webb reported the anomaly to Captain Sarah Chen. The drilling equipment had detected a void space inside the asteroid. And inside that void, their sensors showed an object, metallic, perfectly spherical, 2 meters in diameter, impossible geometry for natural formation. On September 11th, Webb and 2 crew members entered the excavated shaft and retrieved the sphere. On September 14th, the first crew member began speaking in mathematical sequences she didn't understand. On September 18th, Caliban's Fortune transmitted its final message. They're coming. Not explorers, auditors. The ship has been silent ever since. This is what happened aboard Caliban's Fortune. This is what we found in the recovered logs. 16 Psyche is one of the most valuable objects in the solar system. Located in the main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, approximately 370 million kilometers from Earth, Psyche is unusual among asteroids. Most are rocky or carbonaceous, leftovers from the solar system's formation. But Psyche appears to be almost entirely metallic. Iron, nickel, platinum, gold, and rare earth elements. Scientists believe Psyche is the exposed core of a protoplanet, a world that was forming during the early solar system but was stripped of its rocky outer layers by catastrophic collisions, leaving only its metallic heart. The estimated value of Psyche's metals, $10 quintillion, more wealth than exists in the entire Earth economy. When commercial asteroid mining became economically viable in the early 2030s, Psyche was the obvious target. Helix Mining Corporation won the exploitation rights in 2032 after a decade of legal battles and international negotiations. They deployed 3 mining vessels to Psyche, each designed to operate autonomously for multi-year missions. Caliban's Fortune arrived at Psyche in May 2035, establishing a standard mining operation. Anchor to the asteroid's surface, drill deep shafts, extract ore, process it in the ship's refineries, and store the purified metal for transport. The crew of 9 lived aboard the ship in rotating shifts, 6 months on active duty, 6 months in cryosleep. It was grueling work, but the pay was extraordinary. 3 years on Psyche could set up a miner for life. Captain Sarah Chen had commanded deep space mining operations for 12 years. She'd worked the belt, extracted resources from near-Earth asteroids, supervised crews on missions to carbonaceous asteroids for water and organic materials. Psyche was her most ambitious assignment. Chief Engineer Marcus Webb was responsible for all drilling and excavation equipment. A former petroleum engineer from Earth's offshore oil industry, he'd transitioned to space mining when the pay scale quadrupled. He was 43 years old, divorced, sending money back to 2 teenage daughters on Earth. Geologist Dr. Yuki Tanaka analyzed the asteroid's composition, identifying optimal drilling sites and assessing the purity of extracted ores. She had a doctorate in planetary science and had published 17 papers on asteroid composition before joining Helix. The remaining 6 crew members were miners, equipment operators, and refinery technicians. Specialists in their fields, but not scientists. They were here for the money. The drilling operations on Psyche were extensive. Multiple shafts descended into the asteroid's interior, some reaching depths of 3 kilometers. The goal was to map the asteroid's internal structure while extracting the highest-grade metallic ores. Shaft 7 had been drilled to 2.1 kilometers when the equipment detected something unexpected. A cavity. A void space approximately 5 meters across, deep inside what should have been solid metal. Marcus Webb reviewed the sensor data with growing confusion. "Captain Chen," he called over the internal comm, "we've got a problem with Shaft 7. Chen was in the command module, reviewing refinery output reports. "Define problem." "There's a void at 2.1 clicks. Our ground-penetrating sonar shows empty space, but that doesn't make sense. This asteroid should be solid metal all the way through. Could be a gas pocket. Trapped volatiles from the protoplanet era. No gas readings. It's vacuum. And there's something else." Webb pulled up the enhanced sonar imagery. "There's an object inside the void. Metallic signature, but different from the surrounding iron-nickel matrix. It's geometrically regular." Chen came down to the operations bay to see the data herself. The sonar image was clear. A spherical object, 2 meters in diameter, suspended in the center of the void space. "Too perfect to be natural." "That's artificial," Chen said quietly. "Can't be. This asteroid formed 4.5 billion years ago." "Then explain that perfect sphere." Webb had no explanation. Chen made the decision quickly. "Halt drilling on Shaft 7. Prep an excavation team. We're going to retrieve that object." "Captain, company protocols say we report any valuable finds. If that's an artifact, it's worth more than any amount of refined platinum. Helix will want it. And we get the bonus for anomalous discoveries." Webb nodded slowly. The bonus clause in their contracts was substantial. Any crew that discovered scientifically significant materials or artifacts received a percentage of their assessed value. If this was truly an alien artifact, it could be worth billions. The excavation took 2 days. Webb led a team of 3 into Shaft 7, using precision cutting tools to expand the shaft and create an access tunnel to the void space. The work was delicate. Psyche's gravity was minimal, barely 0.3% of Earth's, so everything had to be secured to prevent drift. The crew worked in magnetic boots, tethered to the shaft walls, using laser cutters and plasma torches to carve through the metallic asteroid. On September 10th, at 1840, Coordinated Universal Time, they breached the void. Webb was the first to enter the cavity. His helmet lights illuminated the space, a spherical chamber carved into solid metal, and floating in the center, held in place by some invisible force, the sphere. It was exactly 2 meters in diameter. The surface was metallic, but unlike anything Webb had seen. It reflected light in strange ways, as if the metal itself was absorbing and re-emitting photons with a fractional delay. The color shifted depending on viewing angle, silver, then gold, then a deep bronze. And the surface was absolutely smooth, no tool marks, no seams, no irregularities at the atomic level, according to Webb's scanner. "Captain," Webb transmitted, his voice tight with awe, "you need to see this." The rest of the excavation team entered the void. Geologist Tanaka brought her full sensor suite. "Material composition unknown," she reported. "The spectrometry can't identify it. It's metallic, but the atomic structure doesn't match any element on the periodic table, or any alloy we've cataloged." "How is that possible?" Chen asked over the comm. "It's not. Unless," Tanaka paused, "unless this didn't originate in our solar system, or it's made from matter we don't have on Earth." Webb maneuvered closer to the sphere. It was suspended perfectly in the center of the void, not touching any surface. No visible means of support. "What's holding it in place?" he asked. "Magnetic field, maybe, or gravitational equilibrium." Tanaka was scanning intensively. "Wait, I'm detecting electromagnetic activity. Very faint. It's powered. After 4.5 billion years? If it's been inside this asteroid that long, it's been shielded from solar radiation, cosmic rays, everything. Perfect preservation. Webb reached out slowly. His gloved hand moved toward the sphere's surface. "Webb, maybe you shouldn't," Chen began. His fingers touched the sphere. The sphere didn't react immediately. Webb's hand rested on its surface for 3 seconds. Then he pulled back. "It's warm," he said. "I can feel it through the glove. How is it generating heat?" "We should extract it carefully," Tanaka said. "Take it back to the ship for proper analysis." They rigged a magnetic containment sling and carefully maneuvered the sphere out of the void, through the tunnel, up Shaft 7, and into Caliban's Fortune's cargo bay. The entire process took 6 hours. Once the sphere was secured in a quarantine section of the cargo bay, standard protocol for unknown materials, the crew began comprehensive analysis. Every sensor aboard the ship was focused on it: mass spectrometry, X-ray crystallography, gravimetric analysis, electromagnetic spectrum scanning. The results were baffling. The sphere's mass was wrong, too light for its apparent density. It generated a weak but measurable electromagnetic field, and deep inside, something was moving, not mechanically. Something that looked like data flow, information processing. "It's a computer," Webb said, staring at the analysis results. "Or something like one. There's organized energy transfer inside. It's thinking." That night, Webb couldn't sleep. He lay in his crew quarters, staring at the ceiling, mind racing with possibilities. And then, the numbers started appearing in his thoughts. Not in English, not in any human language, just pure mathematics, sequences, equations, geometric progressions. He sat up, grabbed a tablet, and began writing them down. His hands moved faster than his conscious mind could follow. By morning, he'd filled 40 screens with mathematical notation he didn't understand. Captain Chen found Marcus Webb in the observation deck, surrounded by floating tablets, each displaying dense mathematical formulas. "Webb, you missed the morning briefing." He looked up, eyes red from lack of sleep. "I've been working on something." "On what?" "The sphere. It's communicating." Chen felt a chill. "Communicating how?" "Through me. When I touched it, something transferred. Information. I've been writing it down." He gestured at the tablets. "These equations describe electromagnetic field manipulation at quantum scales. Energy generation using zero-point vacuum fluctuations. Faster-than-light information transfer protocols." Chen picked up one of the tablets. The mathematics was far beyond her understanding, but she recognized genuine complexity when she saw it. "Webb, did you study quantum field theory?" "No, I'm a mechanical engineer. I shouldn't understand any of this. But I do. It's in my head, like someone uploaded a textbook directly into my brain. We need to get you to the medical bay." "I'm not sick. I'm receiving data. And, Captain, I'm not the only one." By the end of September 12th, 3 more crew members reported similar experiences. Geologist Tanaka, mining specialist Rodriguez, systems engineer Park. All of them had been in close proximity to the sphere during analysis. And now all of them were experiencing the same phenomenon, mathematical and technical knowledge appearing in their minds, unbidden but perfectly comprehensible. Dr. Tanaka was writing equations describing gravitational manipulation. Rodriguez was designing mining equipment that shouldn't be possible with current technology. Park was drafting schematics for a propulsion system that could reach 0.3 c 30% of light speed. Captain Chen convened an emergency meeting with the affected crew members. "This is clearly some form of information transfer from the sphere," she said. "Possibly dangerous. I'm implementing quarantine protocols. No one else approaches the sphere until we understand what it's doing." "Captain, I don't think it's dangerous," Webb said. "It's teaching us. This is advanced technology. If we can understand it, we report it to Helix and let their scientists handle it. We're miners, not first contact specialists." "It's not first contact," Tanaka said quietly. "There's no intelligence behind this, no consciousness. It's automated. A data repository." "How do you know?" "Because the information it's transmitting includes metadata, context. This is a library. And we just checked out a book." Chen felt the situation spiraling out of her control. A library? Built by who? Unknown. But based on the technological sophistication, they're at least Type 2 on the Kardashev scale, maybe Type 3. And based on the preservation state of the sphere and the age of this asteroid. 4.5 billion years. Webb finished. This sphere has been inside Psyche since the solar system was forming. The breakthrough came when Webb cross-referenced the equations he'd been receiving with the sphere's electromagnetic emissions. The sphere wasn't just a passive data storage device, it was broadcasting. A signal. Low power but continuous. Directed toward a specific point in space. Webb plotted the coordinates. The signal was pointed at Earth. "Captain," he called Chen to the operations bay, "the sphere is transmitting to Earth. Has been since we activated it." "Transmitting what?" "I don't know. But it's not random. It's organized data. And Captain, there's something else. The signal isn't just going to Earth. It's going through Earth. The actual target is somewhere beyond our solar system." Chen stared at the navigation display. The signal's trajectory extended past Earth, past the solar system, into interstellar space toward the constellation Lyra. "How far?" she asked. Webb calculated. "Approximately 200 light-years. That's the signal's destination." "What's 200 light-years away in Lyra?" "Nothing we've catalogued. But whoever put this sphere here, I think we just sent them a message." The affected crew members were now receiving more complex information. Not just technical data, but something else. Context. Purpose. Tanaka was the first to articulate it. "The sphere isn't just a library," she said during an emergency crew meeting. "It's a marker, a survey beacon." "Survey for what?" Chen asked. "For development potential. This sphere, and probably thousands like it, were placed throughout the galaxy billions of years ago. Hidden inside asteroids, planets, anywhere a developing spacefaring species might eventually explore. Why? To test us. When a species reaches the technological level to mine asteroids, to explore their solar system, they eventually find the spheres. And when they activate them, like we did, the sphere transmits a report back to its creators." Webb added. "The data it's transmitting isn't just coordinates, it's a full assessment, our technological level, our industrial capability, our social organization, everything the sphere has observed since we brought it aboard." "Why would someone do that?" Chen demanded. Tanaka's expression was grim. "Because they're not explorers. They're auditors. They're checking on their investments. The spheres were placed billions of years ago. Civilizations that reach this level of development trigger the report. And then what? I don't know, but the information I'm receiving suggests this has happened before, many times. And the pattern is always the same. Activation, report, response." "What kind of response?" No one had an answer. By September 16th, all 9 crew members were experiencing information transfer from the sphere. Even those who hadn't directly touched it were now receiving data. The sphere's influence had expanded, possibly through the ship's systems or through electromagnetic resonance. The knowledge was overwhelming. Propulsion systems, energy generation, materials, science, biological engineering, weapon systems, especially weapon systems. The sphere was teaching them how to build weapons, planetary-scale defensive systems, kinetic impactors, electromagnetic pulse generators, fusion warheads. "It's preparing us," Webb said, "for conflict." Captain Chen made a decision. "We're jettisoning the sphere, now, before this goes any further." But when the crew tried to access the cargo bay, the ship's systems wouldn't respond. The doors remained sealed. The sphere had somehow interfaced with Caliban's Fortune's computers. Quote, "It won't let us remove it," Park reported from the engineering console. "It's integrated itself into our systems. The ship recognizes it as critical equipment now." Chen tried manual overrides. Nothing worked. The sphere had control. At 6:15 Coordinated Universal Time on September 18th, the sphere's broadcast changed. New data, not technical information, something else. A message. In English. Translated from mathematics into language. It appeared on every screen aboard Caliban's Fortune. Assessment complete. Species designation. Human. Earth. Sol system. Technological level. Class 2. Early interplanetary. Industrial capacity. Adequate biological resilience. Moderate estimated development timeline. 150-300 Earth years to Class 3 status resource utilization efficiency. 34% territorial expansion rate. Acceptable conclusion. Species shows development potential. Proceeding with standard protocol. Auditors dispatched. Estimated arrival. 2.3 local years. Then the message changed. Warning to discovered species. You have activated a development assessment beacon. This is standard procedure for monitoring emergent civilizations. The progenitors seeded your solar system with multiple assessment tools 4.6 billion years ago. You are not the first species to discover these tools. You will not be the last. Auditors will arrive to verify your development trajectory and resource utilization. Species that meet efficiency standards are integrated into the network. Species that fail standards are recalibrated. Your species has 2.3 years to prepare for audit. Recommendations: 1. Maximize industrial efficiency. 2. Accelerate technological development. 3. Establish unified planetary governance. 4. Prepare defensive capabilities. Failure to meet standards results in mandatory recalibration. Recalibration includes population reduction, technological regression, resource reallocation, orbital infrastructure removal. Approximately 67% of audited species fail initial assessment. Good luck. The crew of Caliban's Fortune stared at the message in silence. Then Captain Chen keyed the emergency comm to Earth. "This is Caliban's Fortune to Earth control. We have a Class 1 first contact scenario. Repeat, Class 1 contact. We've activated an ancient alien device. It's broadcasting our location and developmental status to an unknown intelligence 200 light-years away. They're sending representatives. Arrival in approximately 2.3 years. She paused, reading the message again. They call themselves Auditors, and they're not explorers. They're here to assess whether humanity deserves to survive. The transmission from Caliban's Fortune reached Earth 8 minutes later. Within an hour, every major government and space agency had received the sphere's message. The response was immediate and chaotic. Emergency sessions at the United Nations, military mobilizations, scientific conferences assembling the brightest minds on Earth, panic in financial markets, but also action. The sphere's technological data was being analyzed by thousands of scientists. The weapon systems, the propulsion designs, the energy generation methods, all of it was being reverse engineered at unprecedented speed. Because the message was clear, humanity had 2.3 years to prepare, to meet the Auditors' standards, or face recalibration. And nobody knew what that meant, but the sphere's clinical language suggested something terrible. Population reduction, technological regression, orbital infrastructure removal. It sounded like extinction with extra steps. Dr. Tanaka made another discovery while analyzing the sphere's data. "Captain, there are more," she said. "Many more." The information in the sphere includes a map. She pulled up the data on the operations bay display. A three-dimensional representation of the solar system appeared, dotted with hundreds of points of light. These are survey beacons, like ours. hidden throughout the solar system, in asteroids, beneath planetary surfaces, in comets. How many? Chen asked. At least 400 that the sphere's data references. Probably more. Have any others been activated? Yes, 3. One on Europa, found by a research station in 2027. One on Mars, found by a rover in 2024. One on Titan, contacted by a submarine crew in 2042. Chen felt ice in her veins. 2042? That's 7 years from now. The data shows temporal coordinates. It's not just spatial. This network exists across time, or the sphere perceives time non-linearly. What happened when those other spheres were activated? Tanaka pulled up more data. Europa sphere caused biological transformation in the research crew. Mars sphere, immediately classified by Earth governments. Titan sphere provided technological education to peaceful explorers. So different spheres have different functions? Yes. Our sphere is specifically an assessment beacon. It evaluates species development and triggers the audit protocol. But others are teaching stations, transformation devices, warning systems. The network is multifunctional. And they've all been here for billions of years, watching, waiting for us to find them. The progenitors were thorough. They seeded the entire solar system, maybe the entire galaxy. And now we finally reached the development level they were waiting for. Caliban's fortune received new orders from Helix Corporation, now operating under United Earth Emergency Protocols. Return to Earth immediately with the sphere. Mission Priority 1. But the sphere had other plans. On September 23rd at 1400 Coordinated Universal Time, the ship's engines activated without crew input. The navigation systems locked onto a new trajectory. Not toward Earth, toward Jupiter. "Captain, I can't override," Park shouted from the engineering console. The sphere has full control of propulsion. Where is it taking us? Park calculated. Jupiter orbit, specifically Europa. There's another sphere there, the one from 2027. It's guiding us to it. The crew watched helplessly as their ship burned toward the outer solar system, driven by an intelligence they didn't understand and couldn't control. As Caliban's fortune approached Jupiter, Captain Chen recorded a final message to Earth. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of Caliban's fortune. We are no longer in control of our vessel. The sphere is piloting us to Europa, presumably to connect with another sphere in the network." She paused, gathering her thoughts. "For anyone receiving this, we activated the sphere on September 11th. The auditors are coming in 2.3 years. The sphere claims 67% of species fail their initial assessment. I don't know if that's a lie designed to manipulate us or the truth. But I know this. The progenitors have been monitoring our solar system for over 4 billion years. They placed hundreds of assessment tools throughout our system. They've been waiting for us to reach this point, to become spacefaring, to find their markers. And now we have. And now they know about us. Humanity has 2 years to prepare for something we don't understand. An audit by a civilization so advanced, they treat developing species like investment portfolios, assets to be evaluated for efficiency and potential. Use the technology the sphere provided. Build the weapons. Prepare the defenses. Because if we fail this audit, we won't get a second chance. The sphere told us 67% of species fail. That means 33% succeed. We can be in that 33%. We have to be. Captain Sarah Chen, signing off. See you on the other side of the audit. The transmission ended. Caliban's fortune entered Jupiter orbit and began descent toward Europa's icy surface. The ship was never heard from again. 2 years have passed since the activation of the Psyche sphere. The auditors are arriving in 4 months. Earth is not ready. Despite having access to the sphere's technology, propulsion systems, energy generation, defensive weapons, humanity has struggled to implement it at scale. The physics work. The engineering is sound. But transitioning an entire planetary infrastructure in 2 years proved impossible. We've built some of what the sphere showed us. orbital defense platforms, fusion reactors, a few prototype ships capable of 0.1c. But it's not enough. And the political unity the sphere recommended. Unified planetary governance? That failed immediately. Nations couldn't agree on who would control the new technology. Wars broke out over access to the sphere's data. Resources were diverted to conflicts instead of preparation. We failed the pre-audit. And now, watching our long-range sensors, we can see them coming. 3 ships. Not enormous, each about the size of a large asteroid. But their energy signatures are beyond anything we can produce. And they're decelerating toward Earth at 0.4c, which should be impossible, but clearly isn't. The Auditors, coming to assess whether humanity meets their efficiency standards, coming to decide if we're worth integrating into their network, or if we need to be recalibrated. We don't know what that means. The sphere never explained. But based on the clinical language, population reduction, technological regression, orbital infrastructure removal, we can guess. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the only survivor recovered from Caliban's fortune, found in an escape pod near Europa, has spent 2 years trying to interpret the sphere's data. She has one conclusion. The progenitors don't see species as equals. They see them as resources, investments that need to provide returns. We're not being invited into a galactic community. We're being evaluated for acquisition. And if we're not profitable, we're liquidated. The auditors arrive in 4 months. We're going to find out what happens when you fail a cosmic performance review. 16 Psyche still orbits the sun, its metallic wealth glittering in the darkness. Hundreds of survey beacons remain hidden throughout our solar system, waiting to be discovered by the next curious miners, the next ambitious explorers. The progenitors seeded the galaxy billions of years ago. They're patient, they're thorough, and they're coming to collect on their investment. The auditors arrive in 4 months. Humanity has 4 months to prove we're worth keeping. New cosmic horror and space mysteries every Monday and Thursday. This was the asteroid miners who found the sphere. Good luck, everyone. We're going to need it.